It's Book 2, Canto 9, The Paradise of the Life Gods. We've been following King 𝐻𝐸𝒂𝒂𝒕 in his plunge down into the very depths of the world of falsehood. And last time we read how at the very bottom, in the last locked subconscious floor, he found the secret key of nature's change. And when he found that key to the change, then for him everything changes. Healed were all things that time's torn heart had made, and sorrow could live no more in nature's breast. Division ceased to be, for God was there. The soul lit the conscious body with its ray. Matter and spirit mingled and were one. So I'll read on from the beginning of Canto 9. I'll read about a page or a page and a half, and then we'll go back to the beginning and look at each sentence in more detail. Around him shone a great felicitous day, a luster of some rapturous infinite. It held in the splendor of its golden laugh regions of the heart's happiness set free, intoxicated with the wine of God, immersed in light, perpetually divine. A favorite and intimate of the gods, obeying the divine command to joy. It was the sovereign of its own delight and master of the kingdoms of its force. Assured of the bliss for which all forms were made, unmoved by fear and grief and the shocks of fate, and unalarmed by the breath of fleeting time, and unbesieged by adverse circumstance. It breathed in a sweet, secure, unguarded ease, free from our body's frailty, inviting death, far from our danger zone of stumbling will. It needed not to curb its passionate beats, thrilled by the clasp of the warm, satisfied sense, and the swift wonder rush and flame and cry of the life impulse's red, magnificent race. It lived in a dual rhythm of the laughter of God, and lay on the breast of universal love. Immune, the unfettered spirit of delight, pastured his gleaming sun herds and moon flocks along the lyric speed of griefless streams in fragrance of the unearthly asphodel. A silence of felicity wrapped the heavens. A careless radiance smiled upon the heights. A murmur of inarticulate ravishment trembled in the winds and touched the enchanted soil. Incessant in the arms of ecstasy, repeating its sweet, involuntary note, a sob of rapture flowed along the hours. Advancing under an arch of glory and peace, traveler on plateau and on musing ridge, as one who sees in the world magician's glass a miracled imagery of soulscapes flee, he traversed scenes of an immortal joy and gazed into abysms of beauty and bliss. Around him was a light of conscious suns and a brooding gladness of great symbol things. To meet him, crowded plains of brilliant calm, mountains and violet valleys of the blessed, deep glens of joy and crooning waterfalls and woods of quivering purple solitude. Below him lay, like gleaming jeweled thoughts, rapt dreaming cities of Gandharva kings. Across the vibrant secrecies of space, a dim and happy music sweetly stole. Smitten by unseen hands, he heard heart close the harp's cry of the heavenly minstrels pass, and voices of unearthly melody chanted the glory of eternal love in the white, blue, moonbeam air of paradise. So King Ashwapati has been projected from those depths of falsehood and unconsciousness up into the paradise of the life gods. Would you read first, please, Dana?
Around him shone a great felicitous day, a lustre of some rapturous infinite. It held in the splendor of its golden love, regions of the heart's happiness set free, intoxicated with the wine of God, immersed in light, perpetually divine.
A great felicitous day, a day full of happiness. And this day is full of light, some luster, a luster of some rapturous infinite, an infinity full of bliss. That great felicitous day, it's as if it is just laughing, a golden laugh. That world is full of regions, of areas and territories, of the heart's happiness set free without any limitations or bars on it. And it's as if there's a kind of drunkenness, intoxicated, carried away with delight by the wine of God. Wine, in spiritual symbolism, refers to bliss, to which carries you away. That day is immersed in light, perpetually divine, full of light, soaked in gorgeous golden light, forever and always divine. It's obeying that realm, that paradise, is obeying the divine command to joy.
The wind of God is the nectar of immortality.
Sorry, dear?
The wind,
wine, the wine.
Of God is the nectar of immortality.
It may be, yes.
Merging light perpetually divine.
So that realm is obeying the divine command to joy. We can say that the divine commands the whole universe to feel and express and delight in joy, but not all parts of the universe are able to do that. No? But this paradise of the life God, that's what it's doing. It's the sovereign, it rules its own delight. It doesn't have to depend on anybody else for that. It's master of the kingdoms, of its force, of its power to delight. Will you read?
Assured of the bliss for which all forms are made, unmoved by fear and grief and the shocks of fate, and unalarmed by the breath of fleeting time, and unbesieged by adverse circumstance.
Continue.
It breathed in a sweet, secure, unguarded peace, free from our body's frailty, inviting death, far from our danger zone of stumbling will.
We can pause there at the full stop. So that realm is assured. There's no doubt or danger about its state. It is assured of the bliss for which all forms were made. All forms in the universe are intended to express bliss. That there in that realm, that bliss is assured. It's in no danger at all. It's unmoved by fear and grief and the shocks of fate, all those things which trouble and disturb us in our lives. It's not at all alarmed by the breath of fleeting time. We might feel, oh, time is passing so quickly and there's so much to do, and how will we ever get it all done? And it's, where is it all leading? There's none of that alarm. It's unbesieged by adverse circumstance. There's no unfortunate, hostile circumstances threatening it in any way. It is breathing a sweet, secret, unguarded ease. Ease. When everything is so comfortable and easy, unthreatened. He says that state of sweet, secure, unguarded ease is very free from our body's frailty, the weakness of our bodies, which seems to be always inviting death. It's very far away from our danger zone, this danger zone that we live in, this danger zone of stumbling will. We don't know how to will the right things. No? We're always putting ourselves in danger by making wrong choices. Our will stumbles. It doesn't see clearly. It doesn't feel clearly what it should do. But in that world, there's nothing like that. It is very far from our danger zone, this human danger zone that we live in, of stumbling will.
But why the will is in capital W?
Will.
Why it is in capital W? It doesn't mean very.
It's like time and fate and will. Sri Aurobindo has given some capitalization to give to generalize it. No, it's not individual. It is something universal. Will you read, Janaka?
No. It need not to carve its excellent wings. Thrilled by the clasp of the warm, satisfied sense, and the sweet wonder rush and flame and cry of the life impulse's red magnificent race, it lived in a jeweled retinue of the love of God, and lie on the breast of universal love.
Thank you. So in our world, we often have to restrain ourselves. We feel enthusiasm and impulses to do this and that, but we feel we have to curb and control them, be careful not to overdo things, no? But there's this freedom. So in that realm, nothing needs to curb. It needed not to curb its passionate beats. The heart can beat as passionately and powerfully as it wants. There's no need to try to control it and hold it back. It is thrilled by the clasp, by the embrace of the sense, the warm, satisfied sense. The senses feel satisfied, happy, joyful, and they feel the swift wonder rush and flame and cry of the life impulses, red, magnificent race. The life impulses rushing through our bloodstream with full enthusiasm and delight. There's no need to restrain any of that here in this paradise of the life gods. That world lives This is a very poetic expression, no? A dual rhythm. A rhythm is in music, a beat, and this is a dual rhythm. It's glowing and shining like a precious stone. A dual rhythm of the laughter of God, as if we can hear his laughter. And that world seems to be just lying on the breast of universal love, absolutely close and protected and safe. Kavita.
Immune the unfettered spirit of delight, pastured his gleaming sun herds and moon flocks. Along the lyric speed of griefless streams, in fragments of the unearthly as for them. A silence of felicity wrapped the heavens. A careless radiance smiled upon the heavens. A murmur of inarticulate ravishment trembled in the winds and touched the enchanted skies. Incessant in the arms of ecstasy, repeating its sweet involuntary note, a sob of rapture flowed along the earth.
This is magical poetry. Immune, absolutely safe, protected. The spirit of delight is completely unfettered. He's not limited or restricted in any way. It's as if that spirit, the poet describes him as if he's a shepherd boy looking after sheep and cows and goats in a beautiful, ideal landscape. That unfettered spirit of delight can go where it likes. He's pasturing his flocks and his herds, sun herds. This makes us think of the Vedic herds of the sun, and moon flocks, as if these sheep are carrying the spirit of delight, or that wonderful soma which comes to us with the moonlight. And this spirit of delight is guiding his flocks and his herds along the side of streams, beautiful streams. It's evoking a kind of pastoral landscape. And these streams are as if singing. The lyric speed of griefless streams. The streams themselves seem to be singing happily. And growing in those pastures where he's leading his flocks and his herds are plants of asphodel. This is associated in Greek mythology with the magical countryside which can open up to the realm of the gods. And this is not the asphodel. It's a plant which is said to grow in these pastures where the gods wander. This is an unearthly asphodel. This is not a place or an area in our world, but in the heavenly worlds. The silence of felicity, the silence of felicity is enveloping the skies, the heavens, and from those heavens, a careless radiance. It's as if there's a carefree light shining down from above. And there's a sound, a lovely sound, a murmur of inarticulate ravishment. It's a murmur which we can't exactly hear what it's saying. Somebody who's inarticulate, they find difficulty in expressing themselves clearly. But what this sound is expressing is extreme delight, ravishment, utter delight. So it doesn't need to be articulate. It's just a murmur of inarticulate ravishment. It's trembling in the winds. That sound is there in the air that's passing by. And it's not only touching the ears, it's touching the soul, the enchanted soul, the soul that is 𝐼𝒂𝒂𝒕's soul that is enchanted by this sound. That sound is incessant. It goes on and on and on, and it's as if it's being embraced in the arms of ecstasy. And it's as if there's a repetition, a sweet, involuntary note, as if somebody is sobbing, like so full of bliss that they have to, there's a kind of sob, a sob of rapture is flowing along the hours, making this music of ravishment as it goes. I think that's where we stopped, no? Now it describes King 𝐼𝒂𝒂𝒕 moving through this landscape. Would you like to read?
Advancing under an arch of glory and peace, traveler on plateau and amusing bridge. As one who sees in the world magician's glass, a miracle imagery of soul escapes free. He traversed scenes of an immortal joy and gazed into abysses of beauty and bliss. Around him was a light of conscious suns and a brooding gladness of great simple things. To meet him crowded plains of brilliant cars, mountains and violet valleys of bliss, deep glens of joy and green waterfalls, and woods of quivering purple solitude. Below him, like gleaming jewel clouds, wrapped dreaming cities of Gandharva kings.
Thank you. As one who sees in the world magician's glass. I don't know what Sri Aurobindo means by this glass. Perhaps he means a kind of telescope, where it's as if 𝐼𝒂𝒂𝒕 can see through this magic telescope very distant scenes, things that are happening. A miracled imagery of soulscapes, changing. He's seeing things happening at a distance, changing scenes, and they are representing inner states, states of the soul. So 𝐼𝒓𝒂𝒂𝒕 is moving through these scenes, all of which represent immortal joy. And he looks down as a traveler, somebody who's walking along a ridge may look down. He gazed down into abysms, deep places full of beauty and bliss. And as he moves, all around him is a light, not just ordinary sunlight, a light of conscious suns, and a brooding gladness of great symbol things. Gladness, happiness, which is brooding. It is concentrating on all those possibilities of delight, and perhaps it will give birth to something new. So as he moves, it's as if the plains are moving towards him, crowded plains of brilliant calm. I remember traveling by train across North India in the foothills, or before reaching the Terai, in fact, the Ganges Valley. Such vast plains, full of sunlight. Something like that it recalls to me. Crowded plains of brilliant calm, mountains and violet valleys of the blessed race, the blessed souls. They can look down, they can see these vast plains, and then they can look down into these violet valleys. We were reading earlier about the worlds of life and this particular kind of violet which belongs to them. Deep glens. A glen is a valley. Deep glens of joy. And through these plains and these glens, water is flowing. Crooning waterfalls. Crooning, it's a gentle, soothing kind of singing. And he sees these woods. Again, this color purple comes. Typical of that blissful life world. And looking further down from his ridge, he sees the cities of the Gandharva kings. The Gandharvas are these heavenly musicians and poets and creators. So they've built their aerial cities, their beautiful aerial cities, and he sees them. Samir, will you read?
Cross the vibrating spirit of the space, deep and the happy music, sweet stone, submit by unseen hand. He heard
the heart close.
The
harps
strike of the heavenly listed past, the voice of the unearthly melody chanted the glory of external love in the white blue moonbeam air of paradise.
Yes, thank you. So, somehow in the spaces around him, the poet says that they are vibrant, they are vibrating, trembling, these secrets that are there in space. And through that vibrating space, a dim and happy music is sweetly stealing. It's coming in very gently and unnoticed. A sweet and happy music, a dim and happy music. This is the happy music made by the Gandharvas, I think. 𝐻𝒂𝒂𝒕 is able, he doesn't see who is making the music, who is playing those beautiful harps, but he hears the harps cry of the heavenly minstrels. A minstrel is somebody who makes music. So these heavenly minstrels, these are the Gandharvas, the poets and musicians of the heavenly world. And he hears those harps, and he hears also the voices. There are voices singing unearthly melodies. They are chanting. The burden, the meaning of their song is they are praising the glory of eternal love. In the white and blue together like moonlight, the white, blue, moonbeam air of paradise. And then he sees a different kind of landscape. Gangalakshmi, would you read?
The sun and power of all that marvelous work. The path stood high Elysian, nameless hills, burning like sunsets in a trance field, as if to some new and search profundity, into a joyful stillness plunge their ways. Their slopes through a hurry of laughter and voices sang, crossed by a throng and singing rivulets, adoring blue even with their happy hymn, down into woods of shadowy secrecy, lifted into wild, voiceless mystery, their peaks climb toward the greatness beyond life.
Yes. So it's also another marvelous picture. An artist can paint these scenes, perhaps. So in this marvelous world, the paradise of the life gods, the highest level is the summit and the core. It's the very center of that marvelous world. There are hills, high, nameless hills. We don't know their names. They're mysterious to us, but they are Elysian. They are heavenly. Heavenly hills. And we see them at a distance, as we sometimes see snow-covered mountains at sunset, burning. He says, the bright colors, burning like sunsets, in a trance of eve, a very peaceful evening time. We may see in the center of this world these brilliantly shining mountain peaks. So we can see the peaks, and we can also see that the mountains are plunging down. They're very high mountains. We can see their sides. Into a joyful stillness plunged their base, the base of the hills. As if it's going down into some new, deep place where no one has ever been before. And as is usual with hills like that, tall hills, there are rivers down the slopes of the hills. There's a hurry of laughter and voices because the hills are crossed by a throng, a large number of singing rivulets, little streams singing beautifully, making wonderful music. And those streams are adoring, worshipping blue heaven with their happy hymn, that song that they are singing. They flow down into woods of shadowy secrecy. We can't see the bottom of these hills. But the peaks are lifted up into a wide, voiceless mystery, pointing up as if touching the sky. The peaks of those hills are climbing up towards a greatness that is beyond life. These are the paradise of the life gods, but the peaks are pointing to an even higher state, beyond life. Leila, would you read?
The shiny Edens of the vital gods received him in their deathless arms. All things were perfect there, that flowering time. Beauty was their creation native mold. Peace was a thrill dwelt towards purity. Their love fulfilled their gold and their roseate dreams, and strength crowned and mighty
Reveries.
Desire climbed up, a swift, omnipotent flame, and pleasure at the stature of the gods. Dream walk along the highways of the stars. Sweet common things turned into miracles. Overtaken by the Spirit's sudden spell, smitten by a divine passionate alchemy, pain's self-compelled transformed to potent joy, curing the antithesis twixt heaven and hell.
Thank you. The shining Edens. Eden is a word for paradise. These shining Edens of the vital gods, the life gods, the gods of the life energies and powers. They welcome 𝒔𝒑𝒕 into their deathless harmonies, undying, everlasting harmony. There he experiences that everything that flowers in time, that appears in time, is there in a perfect form. Beauty is there. It's the native mold of creation in that world. Everything is naturally beautiful. Peace is there, but it is not just a pure, quiet peace. It's peace containing thrill, the thrill of a voluptuous purity. It's utterly delightful, but also utterly pure. Love is there, love is in that world, fulfilling all her gold and roseate dreams. Roseate, it's a lovely, soft pink. And strength is there in that world. Of course, in a life world, there has to be strength. Strength is there expressing her crowned and mighty reveries, her dreams of power and might. Desire is also there. Desire climbs up towards those heights, but it rises up like a flame, aspiring, and very quickly and powerfully. Pleasure is there. Pleasure has the stature, the dignity and height of the gods and the power. Dream, the power of dream, walked along the highways of the stars. And there, in that realm, there are all the sweet, common things that we're all used to, but they're touched, they're turned into miracles because they're overtaken by the sudden spell, the magic of spirit. So in that atmosphere, smitten as if being struck by magic, alchemy, smitten by a divine passion's alchemy, even pain is transformed into a powerful joy. The fact that pain can be transformed like that cures the antithesis, the contradiction, the opposition between heaven and hell. These things are cured and resolved. I think we will stop there for today.
The vital gods.
The vital gods.
Vital gods are the overnight?
No, they're the gods of the life force, the vital. We have physical, vital, our life energies, mental. These are the three powers that govern our lives. Beyond those, there are higher mental, spiritual planes. What's interesting here is that 𝐵𝒂𝒂𝒕 was exploring the realms of life. And he, in his exploration, he realized that there seems to be always something that doesn't work, that's unsatisfactory, incomplete, that spoils the life. And even in highly developed beings who can give great life expressions, artists and musicians and so on, still there's this imperfection seems to be always there. And he wanted to find out, why is it like that? And it was to find out that he started to go down. What is the root? Where is all this life force flowing from, these desires, all this? Can it be set right? He was looking for a way that life could become a divine life on earth. And that's the quest that took him deep down into the depths, to the last locked subconscious floor. And there he found what he was looking for. Or he found something, he found a key to the change of nature. And when he found that key, then it was as if he didn't have to make any more effort. It was as if he suddenly projected, thrown up into this paradise where life is an ideal dream embodied. So we haven't quite got to the end of this canto, and it's the shortest one, or one of the shortest ones in the whole poem. 𝐼𝒔 spends such a long time exploring the depths, but then when he gets cast up into these heights of the vital gods, the paradise of the life gods, all the terrible wounds that have been inflicted on him in the lower worlds get healed. And then he can move on, and we shall see that he moves on next into the mind levels, the kingdoms and godheads of the little mind. So we go through the little mind and the greater mind and higher levels till we come to the world soul. But for now, we'll stop here. So, those who like to read, we can go back to the beginning of the canto, and we can read these lines together.
Around him shone a great felicitous day, a lustre of some rapturous infinite. It held in the splendor of its golden laugh regions of the heart's happiness set free. Intoxicated with the wine of God, immersed in light, perpetually divine. A favorite and intimate of the gods, obeying the divine command to joy, it was the sovereign of its own delight, and master of the kingdoms of its force. Assured of the bliss for which all forms were made, unmoved by fear and grief and the shocks of fate, and unalarmed by the breath of fleeting time, and unbesieged by adverse circumstance. It breathed in a sweet, secure, unguarded ease, free from our body's frailty, inviting death, far from our danger zone of stumbling will. It needed not to curb its passionate beats. Thrilled by the clasp of the warm, satisfied sense, and the swift wonder rush and flame and cry of the life impulse's red magnificent race, it lived in a jewel rhythm of the laughter of God, and lay on the breast of universal love. Immune, the unfettered spirit of delight pastured his gleaming sun-herds and moon-flocks along the lyric speed of griefless streams, in fragrance of the unearthly asphodel. A silence of felicity wrapped the heavens. A careless radiance smiled upon the heights. A murmur of inarticulate ravishment trembled in the winds and touched the enchanted soil. Incessant, in the arms of ecstasy, repeating its sweet involuntary note, a sob of rapture flowed along the hours. Advancing under an arch of glory and peace, traveller on plateau and on musing ridge, as one who sees in the world magician's glass a miracled imagery of soulscapes flee, he traversed scenes of an immortal joy and gazed into abysms of beauty and bliss. Around him was a light of conscious suns and a brooding gladness of great symbol things. To meet him, crowded plains of brilliant calm, mountains and violet valleys of the blessed, deep glens of joy and crooning waterfalls and woods of quivering purple solitude. Below him lay like gleaming jeweled thoughts, rapt dreaming cities of Gandharva kings. Across the vibrant secrecies of space, a dim and happy music sweetly stole. Smitten by unseen hands, he heard heart close the harp's cry of the heavenly minstrels pass, and voices of unearthly melody chanted the glory of eternal love in the white blue moonbeam air of paradise. A summit and core of all that marvelous world, apart stood high Elysian nameless hills, burning like sunsets in a trance of eve. As if to some new unsearched profundity, into a joyful stillness plunged their base. Their slopes through a hurry of laughter and voices sank, crossed by a throng of singing rivulets, adoring blue heaven with their happy hymn, down into woods of shadowy secrecy. Lifted into wide, voiceless mystery, their peaks peaks climbed towards a greatness beyond life. The shining Edens of the vital gods received him in their deathless harmonies. All things were perfect there that flower in time. Beauty was there, creation's native mould. Peace was a thrilled, voluptuous purity. There love fulfilled her gold and roseate dreams, and strength her crowned and mighty reveries. Desire climbed up a swift, omnipotent flame, and pleasure had the stature of the gods. Dream walked along the highways of the stars. Sweet, common things turned into miracles. Overtaken by the Spirit's sudden spell, smitten by a divine passion's alchemy, pain, self, compelled, transformed to potent joy, curing the antithesis twixt heaven and hell.